Welcome back to the Celtics Nation Rise podcast, episode 98. I'm your host, Griffin Aldrich. Alongside me, we got my two great co hosts, Carl McDonald and David Caires. We are back, you guys. Took a little break, couple week break, but we are finally back in full swing right now. Fan series kicking off. We're going to be starting that, having special guests on this offseason, talking about off-season moves and off-season Celtics. And really quick promo for you guys. If you guys want the chance to be on our podcast, make sure to comment down below and give us your Instagram. We'll go over DM you because we are bringing the fan series back, you guys. We're bringing it back this year. I'm giving Carl this special opportunity right now to kind of say where he stemmed from. Carl stemmed from the fan series, and look, we have fun yapping, and he's our co-host now, so we love it. We love it. So join the fan series; it's a lot of fun. Carl, did you have fun on the fan series?
Absolutely did. I was never expecting for it to eventually, get to this point, but I'm glad. I feel like this was, the first of many things to come with this. Literally, it's like a turning point within, all of our lives. I was just a guy who loved the Boston Celtics like you guys did, and I just wanted to, show my appreciation for the team. And, furthermore, bring more attention to what I was doing over at my own TikTok account. So, being able to, talk with you guys, conversate with you guys in that first episode, and then have it to eventually spawn into me being a regular here has been one of the best moments of my life. And I'm very excited to just continue on this journey with Celtics Nation Rise because so far, and I feel like always it's going to be a fun one.
I love it. I love it. And I wanted to give a special and go check out the Cage Express. Go check out Carl's TikTok, not only for basketball content, you also get pop culture content and WWE content. And I was just saying to Carl and David, I just went to an AEW match, first ever. So gotta love that. Maybe I'll share my experience sometime. It was a fun time. I will also want to give a special shout out to PJ Hoops Podcast One. We just did an episode, I think last week, hasn't been released yet, but talking about the Celtics and off-season moves. So if you guys tune into ours, but make sure to subscribe over to him as well. Check out his content. But anyways, there's our promos for today. Go subscribe, go follow, and tune in because a lot of great things to keep you entertained all off-season long. But also, if you guys have been under a rock, I mean, to be fair, Celtics fans after the offseason, it's like, all right, we're kind of dormant, not a lot going on. And Andrew did a TikTok. What are your guys' hobbies? Let us know in the comments below. What are you guys doing now to keep yourself entertained? But one thing that's going on is basketball because the Knicks are on the verge of sweeping the Cavs tonight. I don't know where that's going to be at some point. And I mean, OKC and the Spurs series, I think this is the best, one of, if not the best series ever. Like, we gotta love that. But we'll start off with you, David, go to Carl, and back to myself. What are your thoughts on hoops right now or whatever's going on this summer? What are your thoughts really quick?
So, just to clarify, you're saying the Spurs Thunder series is one of the best series ever?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
I don't know if I go that far, but I enjoy it.
I think so. I think Wemby's three-pointer was nuts. I think that just made, like, game one, you see that Spurs win, Wemby, huge three-pointer. Did it tie or take the lead? Yeah, tied, right? Tied the game. Like, I think from there, it was absolute cinema. Like, I think we're ready for a roller coaster since then. And series tied up 2-2. I don't know. You're right. Hot take, though. Hot take.
No, I can respect the hot take. Other than that, I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I've been enjoying that series. It definitely feels like a gut punch for what the inevitable is with the New York Knicks advancing to the finals. Definitely don't want to see that. Wouldn't be opposed to New York having two of their sports teams blow 3-0 series lead. So hopefully that can happen. I'm still holding out hope for that. But other than that, I've been good. Haven't been paying a ton of attention to basketball, kind of just like loosely following it from afar, but I've been watching these games that are going on. It is 3 of the last 4 seasons have been kind of tough because I have felt like the Celtics season have ended prematurely, and it's kind of left me feeling pretty salty. I'm not gonna lie to you, and this is no different. Like it definitely feels like we should still be playing right now, but took some time to decompress. Had a nice little beach day last week. Went up to Salisbury Beach, if you know, you know, and got some sun. And yeah, life is good.
Yeah, for me, I've been keeping up with the playoffs since the Celtics have unfortunately been, out since earlier this month. Kind of weird to think about. Yeah, I like you said, David. I'm also a bitter Celtics fan. We should still be in these playoffs. Still should be, close to competing for and or winning another championship. It sucks, at this time, but at the same time, at least there's still, a lot going on within the NBA, like, these series. Again, not the biggest fan of the Knicks, and not even because of what happened last year, but just don't like the Knicks. The fact that they have this path to go to the finals now, and it's just crazy to think about because imagine they actually win a championship and how that's actually going to destroy the entirety of New York in general. Like, people may think I'm over exaggerating. No, this is actually true. I've heard from fans of, or friends of mine who are Knicks fans or who are New Yorkers themselves saying that, oh, don't come to New York and stuff. It's like, there we go. Obviously, crazy things are going to happen there, but at least, there's a saving grace there. I do love the series between the Spurs and OKC Thunder. And, they're sharing sentiments here. I'm praying and hoping the Spurs win, not just because of my gripe against the OKC Thunder and their tendencies, but also, I feel like the Spurs are, due time, in the sun. I've always loved the Tim Duncan and, Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili. I always liked that team, going ahead and making a deep playoff push and seeing them do that past those guys, is very cool. Victor Wembanyama continues to be one of the best players in the world. That first game, he's the first person since David Robinson to put up 40 and 20, in a massive playoff game. That game one matchup, I still feel like is the best game that happened between those two this season and, of course, within this series. But this series is shaping up to be one of the absolute best. Game 5 is going to tell us, whether or not, I feel like Game 5 will essentially determine who's going to win. That's pretty much how it always is. If you win Game 5, you're going to win the series. Not necessarily guaranteed, but your chances increase even more. So I've been definitely keeping up with that series and, of course, the Knicks and Cavs series. Furthermore, with that, actually continuing on with that a little bit, the Cavs, I'm very surprised that they're even in this position. I get it, Detroit only really had Cade Cunningham, but never really believed in the Cavs. They're just kind of, there, especially with James Harden. He's not anybody who's really going to help you out in the playoffs. So, just in general, keeping up with those series and as much basketball as much as possible. And then, of course, Celtics news and everything, pertaining around our world of basketball with the Celtics. And just been, working on schoolwork and prepping for a vacation in early June to Puerto Rico with the missus. So just, keeping myself, in mind and busy, trying to keep my, mind off of reality right now and just trying to have as much fun as I can before we get this new season rolling.
Puerto Rico. That sounds like fun. Jeez.
I'm so excited. We're nearing it. I'm so excited, man.
What were you saying, David?
To Carl's point about how New York could burn down if the Knicks clinch, there is a video surfacing on social media in general right now. They are doing a watch party for the Knicks game tonight in front of Radio City Music Hall, and there is about, I kid you not, probably 200 police officers lined up outside of that watch party, prepping for tonight. So if the Knicks do clinch tonight, yeah, it might be cinema in New York City. They might live up to their meaning of the city that never sleeps.
Well, I have to give a special shout out right now to the Sea Dogs GM, Jesse, we're going to have him on at some point, and I'm sure he's going to talk all about the Knicks because he's the biggest Knicks fan I know. I have to say he's a nicer Knicks fan, so I can't wait to have him on and hear about baseball as well. But geez, I hope they win for him, but not the whole finals. No, this series. I told him if they face off against OKC, they're gonna have some trouble. That's what I said. That's what I said. But yeah, I hope OKC can win or the Spurs because I'm not trying to look forward to a New York championship. I'm not about that. They won the in-season tournament. They could have that, but the championship, let's go crown someone else. I would be, even if the Spurs win 2 in a row, go get it. But shout out Jesse. If they win the championship, I'm not going to hear the end of it at work. So I gotta say that. But I also special shout out to the Sea Dogs got Employee of the Month. So happy for that. Super honored and so grateful for the Sea Dogs. Go check out a baseball game and go check out Franklin Arias as he's killing it in Double A. There's your chasing the monster bit right there. Some Red Sox stuff for you. But ultimately, it's time to talk some Celtics, guys. We haven't done this in a while. I feel like now we're finally over the pain that we've been going through. It still sucks because every time I put on a basketball game, I'm like, oh, Celtics should be here. But there's other Celtics and basketball news. And first, let's start off with the most controversial right here. The big news is Jaylen Brown made all NBA second team. I know we're all disappointed about this. This was a guy who should have even won MVP, but he ends up on the second team getting beat by Cade Cunningham. I'm still shocked. You guys, if let's go around again, we'll start off with you, David, go to Carl, back to myself. What are your thoughts about him being snubbed? Because I think he was absolutely 1,000% snubbed from this award.
Yeah, 1,000% agree with that sentiment, and I have to give credit again to Carl here for his social media game because he posted this on your story and said that basically the people in Congress that make the rules for our country must be bending the rules for these NBA requirements as well. So I think that is 100% valid. I get Luka Doncic. So you have the 65 game threshold, and you're bending the rules for two players that hit only 64 games because they had extenuating circumstances. I mean, Cade Cunningham had a serious injury that sidelined him for the better part of the end of the regular season, and Luka Doncic missed a couple games for the birth of his child. But why have rules in place if you're just going to keep bending the goalposts? I mean, we got to be able to enforce these rules. Rules are rules for a reason. And fine, if you're going to bend the goalposts, even though you commit to this rule as agreed to in the most recent CBA, whatever. If you are going to bend the rule, I get Luka Doncic taking one of the spots. I mean, he statistically had another great year across 64 games. What I don't understand is Cade Cunningham getting it over Jaylen Brown. Cade Cunningham's numbers are slightly worse from last year, other than the assists. Jaylen Brown had the best season of his career. I mean, yeah, Cade Cunningham was the leader of this Pistons team, took them from, a 6 seed or whatever they were to the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. But Jaylen Brown led a team with over 28 points per game scoring without the best player for most of the year, losing so many people in free agency. And this team started 0-3 and was expected to be at most a 45-win team. And we won 56 games in the regular season. And I don't even care what happened in the playoffs. These awards are based strictly on regular season. And Jaylen Brown had a very successful regular season. Got MVP votes. I really don't understand why he did not get a spot here on the first NBA first team. But On the flip side, I thought Jaylen Brown handled this very well on his Twitch stream. He said that he's just honored to be nominated for something like this because he knows he's not very well liked by fans and by others across the league. So for me, if JB himself isn't upset about it, I don't want to be upset about it too much. And I mean, it's just an honor, like you said, for him to be nominated to the second team. But I hate it for JB, just like when JB texted Tatum a couple summers ago when Tatum wasn't getting played in the Olympics. Jaylen Brown said he texted him, "I hate this for you." I hate this for Jaylen Brown. Ironically enough, Jaylen Brown should have been picked for that Olympic team. That's a whole other conversation for another day. It feels like he keeps getting snubbed by the award makers in the NBA, and I hate it for JB. But again, if he doesn't want any of us to be mad and wants us just to be happy for him being on a team, that's what I'll do.
Yeah. First, always credit to Jaylen Brown for carrying himself with professionalism and going ahead and, I don't want to say taking this on the chin because clearly he's very happy about this, but, very nice to see him have this reaction, though. Having said that, obviously, my reaction to this. I'm angry about this. I don't think this is fair because, we have the 65-game rule for a reason. Luka and Cade Cunningham shouldn't really have been nominated at all, especially Cade Cunningham. The only reasons why they got that curve was obviously because of the whole, situation with them, not meeting those minimums, but still being allowed to be nominated for those, achievements. And because Luka statistically is still a great offensive player, one of the best in the NBA today, and Cade Cunningham leading, the best team in the Eastern Conference. But again, Jaylen Brown, the expectation for the Boston Celtics going into this regular season, I'm saying this plainly because, David, again, this is a big point too. These awards should not be handed to these players and or teams based off of what happened in the playoffs. These are regular season awards. You never see a finals MVP being crowned in the first round of the playoffs. You see that happen when the finals happen. Again, Jaylen Brown, the expectations were for him to 45 games, was being generous. A lot of teams had them winning only 37 games, being a team that didn't even crack the plan. They were supposed to tank. They were supposed to, wait for a high draft pick. They only had all these other players on their roster after losing Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford, Luke Cornett. And again, most of the team having to develop. And of course, Jason Tatum being out with the Achilles, and it was speculated that he was going to be out for the whole year. Jaylen Brown proved everybody wrong that he can lead this team and did so with the second seed without Jason Tatum for the majority of the season. He's carrying this offense. He's having career-high numbers, not just with his points, but rebounds and assists as well. And I'd say even field goal percentage too, if I'm not mistaken. Just all around, all of these great accomplishments. He's having Player of the Month wins too. That win, of course, that he got in, was it December or January after being snubbed that 1 month. Player of the Week after Jason Tatum had gotten it. Jaylen Brown was proving that he was the best player or the best American player that wasn't Jason Tatum. He was proving that he was the best American player and a top 5 player in the league. And that's another thing too. The MVP rankings as well too. Cade Cunningham is above Jaylen Brown in that too, which I know he was. It was pretty much obvious he wasn't going to win the award simply because SGA, Jokic, still exists, and of course the politicking. But why is Cade Cunningham above him? Cade Cunningham is a good player, but not better than Jaylen Brown. Not right now, not all time. This is a guy again who was given little to nothing and made it work. The expectations was for this team to not do anything special, and they did something special. But because Cade Cunningham and Luka, are given these exceptions now, all of a sudden, Jaylen Brown has to be bumped down one. It's one thing if Cade Cunningham got a second team, nomination and maybe, or not second team nomination, but was put in, Jaylen Brown's spot. But for Jaylen Brown to have to essentially fork over that spot that he deserved on the first team for Cade Cunningham and even Luka is insane to me. And that's not even to mention that Anthony Edwards also got screwed out of that situation too, because he was also, his team or somebody was petitioning for him to even be considered for an all NBA selection, despite the fact that he didn't play the 65 games and it was revoked. So to me, yeah, it's like, why do we have these rules there if we're not going to be fair to, everybody there? Jaylen Brown, he followed the rules. He played all 65 and more of his games. And these guys didn't, yet they get to have, these exceptions and get to, move up. To me, it's just not fair. It doesn't make any sense at all. I would hope that Jaylen Brown, although, again, very professional about it, is using this as motivation for next season. And, people are just going to use this as another reason to dog on Jaylen Brown for no reason. We're seeing that right now with his, beef with Stephen A. Smith. Obviously for different reasons, but at the same time, reasons that were caused by Stephen A. himself. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Jaylen Brown got snubbed here. Disrespect, once again, it is not surprising in the slightest. And again, the NBA is run by those in Congress.
I have to say, you don't even get to this award yet, and you don't even think. You're like, Jaylen Brown is all NBA first player, right? First team, right? You don't even think about that because there's no other answer. All right, I'm going to go through the list. Wemby, all right, had a solid season. I'm putting Jaylen Brown over him this year. I know might be a hot take. I'm taking him over Wemby. Even in the MVP voting, I'm taking Jaylen Brown over Wemby this year. Jokic, I think there's a player where you see what he does on a year-to-year basis. I think this year, what Jaylen Brown was able to do with the Boston Celtics, I think that makes him better. Player-wise, though, the stat-wise, I say Jokic is better. But, you look at it, Jaylen Brown, I think, for what he did this season, deserves to even be there over. And that's a hot take. We'll keep Jokic, but still, they're competing. Shea, all right, what?
One other thing I didn't even realize, I'm just looking at their stats as you're listing them, Griffin.
Yeah.
Victor Wembanyama is another guy who didn't even play 65 games. He played 64 as well.
Are you serious?
You know what? That makes a lot of sense because they said he could have won Sixth Man of the Year, which is insane to me. And I didn't even know he didn't play the 65 games. So that's now 3 players.
3 on the list.
60% of the first NBA could be Mickey Mouse all NBA first team.
That's insane. But to add on this list, I think the one player, because he ended up with the MVP, all right, he deserves to be on this list over Jaylen Brown. We could all say it, whether we like it or not. He won the MVP. He deserves to be on this list over Jaylen Brown. Luka Doncic, absolutely not. Obviously he was keeping the Lakers in it, but you still won games without Luka. It wasn't impossible. And yeah, he's a great player and all. His stats are great. Jaylen Brown deserves to be on this list over him 10 out of 10 times. Cade, again, another guy. All right, great what he did, bringing his team from the 6 seed to the 1 seed. So what? Jaylen Brown, and David, I think you nailed it. You and Carl, I think you guys nailed it. And there's not much more for me to say about, bringing this team, because you guys obviously know all the narratives. This team wasn't even supposed to be in the threshold of the top 3 seed. They were. I want to say this. I think it's a hot take. If anyone predicted them to be in top 5, I think that was a hot take at the beginning of the season. I thought that was a really hot take. If you were predicting them in the top 5, I was like, ooh, you're just praying. You're just praying. But I had them at the 6th seed, and I was shocked. So Jaylen Brown deserves to be on this list. I cannot stress it enough. But do you guys have anything else you want to add on to it? Because that's ridiculous. Another one, not even 64 games. Are you kidding me? But go ahead, David.
Jaylen Brown played 71 games this regular season, by the way. So he more than I think he played the most games out of over anyone from that first NBA team, all NBA first team. And he had, to our point earlier, career year everywhere across the board. The only thing he regressed in was his turnovers per game. He averaged one more turnover per game, but that's expected when your usage goes up as the number one option. And he played the second most minutes per game in his career, 34.4 minutes per game average this season. His career high was in 2020, 2021. He averaged 34.5 minutes per game, but he only played 58 of the 72 games that season. So the stats do not lie.
And Carl, I want to say this before you go too. Just listen to the second team NBA. Does Jaylen Brown even seem to like fit this category with these players this year? Donovan Mitchell, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, and Jalen Brunson. I think he's 2 levels ahead of all those players that I just named this year. I really do. I like, you know, you have a hard push with Kawhi. He had a good bounce back year, you know, hasn't. All right, but not all NBA first team level. Jalen Brunson, I think he pushes a good fight right there, but not all NBA first team level. Jaylen Brown, all NBA first team level, dropped 50 points. I mean, what are we doing? But add on to it, Carl. Sorry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That second team, and no disrespect to those guys, you know, still played well. But let's look at this. The Houston Rockets, led by KD. Good team, and did what? The 4th seed in the Western Conference.
Yep.
We're expected to be higher than that. Keep that in mind. We're expected to be higher than that. And there were a lot of times where that team really wasn't meshing well, partly because of the chemistry that was kind of ruined because of him, because of those allegations. Yep, there we go with the little thumbs there. And then you have Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs. Good regular season team. Team equipped, you know, that could do something in the playoffs. Even when they got James Harden, they got a boost. But they were not better than the Boston Celtics. The New York Knicks. This team that I projected, or a lot of people projected, and I predicted were going to make the finals this year with how well of a roster that they had. Many times were very inconsistent. And in one of those times were shown that when they lost to the Celtics in that one game after they had won the NBA Cup. Kawhi Leonard, great to see that he is playing like this, and I hope that he continues playing like this. Personally, one of my favorite players. But the Clippers, although he got them into somewhat the playoffs, he didn't get them there. You know, and that's partly because of that horrendous beginning that they had. And it was really, you know, just him out there. It was kind of like what was going on with the Houston Rockets with KD, but it was a lot worse. And, of course, the Clippers being a lot older. Jaylen Brown, the expectations, again, was for Celtics and him to tank. Yet, he proved the naysayers wrong. The fact that he has to be relegated to the number 2 team and relegated to having his spot taken by Cade Cunningham, Luka Doncic, and Victor Wembanyama, who didn't play the 65 games. Again, blasphemous, ridiculous to me. I do not understand this. And for anybody trying to, you know, argue this, trying to make it seem like we're being weird about this, if this was any of your favorite players, we would not hear the end of this. It's ridiculous.
And the thing that just sickens me about it is their rules. If you make it 65 games and a player, you know, played 64, but you're like, all right, there was an injury. Well, what about Tatum? What about Tatum? You know, why isn't he in any of these awards? Clearly, he had an injury. It wasn't his fault. All right, you're going to say, all right, he had a child. Like, you know, that's obviously you have to see your child born. Yeah. But like, obviously, did Tatum mean to get injured? Like I just think if you have a rule established, then that's it. Like I don't know. Do you have anything you want to add on to it though, David?
You'd be surprised. You would think everyone would want to see their child born, but there's a player by the name of Gordon Hayward who would think otherwise. If you know, you know.
You said it. You said it. Said it right there.
Really quickly, though, I have a feeling we're going to be coming on this podcast next week and be pissy as well, because I saw something where allegedly it was leaked that JB Bickerstaff is going to be winning Coach of the Year over Joe Mazzulla. So we may be coming, if that is true, we're going to be coming back on this program, and rightfully so, being even more salty.
Yeah.
It's like you said, David, regular season awards. These are not they need to bring back that format where they had the award ceremony right after the regular season ended. Just do that. Because I shouldn't be waiting until the second round to find out who won MVP when they had that MVP race between Jokic and SGA, treating it like it's a ladders match in professional wrestling. Like, this isn't – what is this?
No, you nailed it, because it's like you said this earlier in the show too. It's like when you have Eastern Conference Finals MVP, you do it then. You don't wait and be like, oh, yeah, let's just wait till after the NBA Finals are over and award this award to someone. It's like, no, you do it right there and then. Like, and doesn't have to, like, maybe you could go as far as to say, all right, you could have the play-in tournament first, but then do it after that at least. Like, don't go to first round of playoffs, like, and then don't go deep. Like, we just got this news the other day. Like, this is insane. It's criminal. It's criminal.
It was so awkward when Jokic, I mean, granted, Jokic wouldn't care anyways, but like when Jokic won his most recent award in 2024, they named him the winner when he was down 2-0 in the second round in Minnesota. It's just, it's awkward. It's just awkward timing. I 100% agree. We got to go back to doing that. Do that during the period of the week, like you guys said, you hit the nail on the head, when the play-in tournament is going on, that week buffer before the playoffs actually start. What are we doing? And then you got Shams spoiling stuff. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
The NBA just screws up the simple stuff.
Yeah. Well, we should become the commissioners. I tell you guys what. But anything else you guys want to add on there? If JB isn't upset, I'm just saying, if JB isn't upset, like you said, David, then we're not upset. But I'm still upset for him, like you mentioned already. But again, we can't do anything about it. We can just get out our anger to you guys, which I'm sure you guys agree with us. But yeah, I hope he comes on a revenge tour next year. Again, like you guys also mentioned with Jason Tatum, I don't think we really got that revenge tour against the Golden State Warriors and Steve Kerr in USA basketball. But I really hope we have a revenge tour for JB next year, because that's just going to be elite with Jason Tatum getting a full off season. That's going to be a fun one. Gotta say. But next up, Derek White, all defense first team. Are we shocked? Yeah, let's give him a round of applause. And JB a round of applause too. Second team, but he got snubbed. But congrats to both of them. But especially congrats to Derek White, all NBA first team. What are your guys' thoughts about this? And, well, is this a surprise to you? We'll start off with you again, David.
Well, the NBA got one thing right. I mean, Derek White's probably the best defensive guard in the league. We saw that on display this year again. Not only does he guard the perimeter well, but he is also just great at blocking and getting steals as a guard and taking charges as well. Like he's just an all-around great defender. And this was not surprising to me at all. I don't think this is really surprising to anyone. So, I mean, really just kudos to Derek White. There's not too much to say on this one. I think this is well-deserved. And yes, the voters got this one right. So it's good to see that as well. Derek White has always rested his laurels in his career on defense, and he keeps getting rewarded for it. So well-deserved for sure. Happy for Derek White.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Getting this news was, bringing a smile to my face, because although he had a rough season offensively, he still made up for it defensively, and this is one of the reasons why I want to keep him. He's always been a great defensive guard, arguably, or even, now the greatest defensive guard that we have in the league. To still have him a part of this team is, beautiful. And again, I want to keep him for as long as we can, win more championships with him, and hopefully for him to win a Defensive Player of the Year award, similar to what Marcus Smart did, becoming the second ever, or in this case, becoming the third ever guard to win that award, and the third ever Celtic to win that award too. I feel like with Derek White winning, funny enough, it was the calm before the storm because all Celtics fans rejoicing in Derek White getting this accomplishment, and then Jaylen Brown, although being honored, still being snubbed. Yeah, but it's still great to see Derek White, being recognized for this and being in the same company of individuals like, a Victor Wembanyama, somebody who is probably going to go down as the greatest defensive player of all time, especially with his, position and him currently being the reigning DPOY. So I love Derek White in this position, and always going to support, one of my guys, winning an award like this. I feel like personally he should have been on the first team alongside Drew Holiday, but at the very least they did get that second team mentioned there. So great to see, Derek White getting this accomplishment. He deserves this, and hopefully it's more to come for him.
Yeah, you guys nailed it. Well deserved. And again, I'm happy there's at least a little glimpse that this season won't be forgotten because, you look at all the awards and I think it shows you how great of a season this actually was for the Celtics. But, this shows it's not all lost. Congratulations to Derek White, and well deserved. Again, I sound like a mockingbird, so I'm not going to go too much into it. But again, congratulations. You guys want to add anything else on this? Yeah, congratulations to D White. I want to say his role in the community as well so far. He did that Sam Adams meet and greet. I didn't make it there or any of our team, but I saw it looked like a lot of fun, and I'm happy he's getting out there in the community. Has his White Noise podcast. Derek White's doing a lot of great things. So kudos to White, and gotta love it. But next up, we've been excited for this one. Off-season moves and predictions. You guys give us the hottest takes you can. Fire some trades at me. Do you guys have any hypothetical trades? Or we'll start off with this before we do hypothetical trades and stuff. What do you guys want to see the Boston Celtics do this offseason? Whether it be move around anyone, what do you guys want to see the Boston Celtics do? Is anyone ready to shoot a stab at this one? All right, David, take it away.
So there's two things that are apparent with the Celtics based on their early playoff exit to the team that we will not name because I'm still salty that they beat us. But anyways, we need a true rim protector at the center position, and we need some sort of guard. It could really be three things. We need a rim protector. We need a guard that can run the offense. We need a traditional point guard again. And we need someone who can do shot creating. So my ideal trade to bury the lead here is I want the Celtics to acquire Jamal Murray this offseason. I think Jamal Murray would be great at the point guard position, a guy that can run the offense, create his own shot, do a little bit of playmaking. I want us to trade Derek White and Hauser for Sam Hauser. No, Derek White and Hauser for Jamal Murray. I think as much as I love Derek White, and we just spent the previous segment praising him, I think I'm really alarmed by him being another year older and him having the worst year of his career offensively. And I think that's going to be our biggest tradable contract, or our most attractive contract to trade to a team is that $30 million number. Because I don't think we should trade Jaylen Brown. I'll go with that as well. I don't see why we would break up the duo that just won the championship 2 years ago and didn't even really play together this year. You at least got to give that another shot. It's even crazy. I got to say, you have to give that another shot. We should be riding this until the wheels fall off. It's two of the best players in the NBA, but I digress with that. I think you run it back with them two still on the team, especially with JB coming off an amazing season and Tatum looking pretty good coming off of his injury, kind of like a wing version of Jokic. I mean, his playmaking was incredible. But aside from that tangent, I think you have to mix some things up. And it seems like change is coming because Brad did seem pretty pissed in his end of season press conference. I mean, he literally said verbatim, "I'm pissed." So I think the Nuggets are going to be looking to try and shed a little bit of salary. I think they have to play some financial maneuvering games as well. I don't know exactly what their situation is, but I did see online that ownership is probably looking to cut salary because they may also be looking to duck like an apron, whatever their situation is. So if we send Hauser and Derek White to Denver, that's 40 million off our books. We'd be taking in Jamal Murray, who makes 50 million. So Denver would be cutting 10 million salaries. They get a solid defensive guard to pair to insert in their lineup. They get Hauser. They get an incredible shooting off the bench in their starting five or whatever. And the Celtics in return are taking back more money, but they get that point guard they've been craving since we traded away Drew Holiday. So for me, Jamal Murray's the perfect guy I want to target. I think a starting five of Murray, Brown, Tatum, maybe Shireman somewhere in the fold, and Keita is pretty solid with Pritchard and others coming off the bench. Go ahead, Griffin.
What do you do rim protection wise, though? Do you bring in a guy? I'm going to throw a few names. Do you bring in a guy like Robert Williams, or do you keep what you got? Bring back, I know this is a hot take, bring back Vooch on a veteran minimum. What do you do from there? What do you think?
So it's a great question.
That was a concern for you. So that's why I was just picking your brain a little bit.
It is a concern for me, and that's the tricky thing because Robert Williams is my answer to that question. I'm all for Robert Williams reunion. It seems like he did a great job guarding Wemby in the playoffs, and like us OG Celtics fans knew he always had that in him. I mean, he's gone through a few injuries, so that is a question mark, but I think it was great how he handled the trade. It wasn't personal for him, and I think he'd be more than willing to come back. I don't know if Brad wants him back, but I think he would be a perfect rim protector. I mean, obviously, it's just a question mark like it was with Porzingis, where can this guy stay healthy? But that's a gamble I'm willing to take. So I would love to get Robert Williams back. The overarching issue here, and this will be my last thing, is the salary cap situation. Because the Celtics currently have 188 million on their books for the next season, and the threshold for the first apron is 201 million. So we only have 13 million to play with, and if we go into the first apron, we're going to get hit with the repeater tax. Every dollar you're over the 209 million threshold is an extra 3 point. You have to times that by 3.5. That's the repeat offender. So if we're 8 million over, so say that our payroll is 208 million next year, for example, we have to pay an extra 20 million in a repeater tax penalty. Is Bill Chisholm willing to pay that? Does that make a lot of sense? I don't know, but we can start. Here's the other thing people need to be aware of. We can start next season over the first apron. Just to avoid the penalties, we need to be under the first apron by the trade deadline. So we can be over 201 million like we were this past season, heading into the trade deadline in February. But if past the deadline in February, we're still over the first apron, the penalties kick in. So I wouldn't be shocked to see the Celtics carry a little bit more money financially to start the season. But if we're trading in my hypothetical world for Jamal Murray, that leaves us with $3 million in cap space to bring back guys, like pick up the team option on Ron Harper Jr., I believe, other players like that. We got to draft someone as well and sign them to a contract. So we really don't have any wiggle room if we trade for Jamal Murray in my hypothetical situation, unless we blow more things up. So in a dream scenario, Jamal Murray is a Celtic this offseason, but I don't know if the Celtics are going to be gung-ho this summer because of all the penalties that would happen from them being in the first apron again. I think we may need to wait another couple of years for them to go all in again.
Yeah, for me, I really liked what David said there. And if we had Jamal Murray, that would actually be something. Not just, all the great qualities that, you brought up with him, but also having that experience of winning an NBA championship and being a key reason for that. That would be very nice. For me personally, I would say, and we talked about this with Tommy after, the game 7, situation. Let's bring back Robert Williams. Well, let's bring him back. Have him be, a starting center for us. Keita, I would love to keep him, but have him be, a secondary center for us. I feel like he could fit into that role well. I feel like he was deserving of that starting position, not just to, get his feet wet, but also he proved that he can be a reliable piece for the Celtics team in the near future. Remember, he is 26 years old. So being able to pair up with Robert Williams III, another big that was successful with us in the past, pretty big in getting us into the finals back in 2022. And if injuries, hadn't hampered us, who knows? Maybe, the ties change, everything could have, changed around for us. Definitely the biggest concern there, but I would love to see him back in Celtics green. And another player I would love to see back in Celtics green, Anthony Simons. Definitely a big piece of our team too, a big piece of our, success. Somebody who slowly but surely, came into his own as, that piece that we needed, coming off of the bench and shooting the lights out there. Kind of the bigger concern outside of him coming back to the team, with everything, circling around that trade deadline and the rumors of him being traded eventually coming true. There's a concern for that. Maybe, he's not too happy about that. But like you talked about, David, with Robert Williams, accepting the trade and not being, bitter about that. Simons, I wouldn't think that he was, bitter about what happened, considering that, it wasn't a guarantee that he was going to stay on the team. But, who knows? God forbid, he's not hiding any resentment, but like there could be, something there. Hopefully that isn't the case, and I would love to, see him playing with us again. But then who do you give up in a trade? I could see, a Sam Hauser, and they probably throw in another player or two in there. Hopefully they could keep, Peyton Pritchard and Hugo Gonzalez specifically. And of course, Baylor Shireman to pretty much take over for Sam Hauser in the way that, us Celtics fans, hoped for. And so, you have a Celtics lineup of probably Simons or Peyton Pritchard again. And then you probably have, Baylor Shireman in there, and then Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and then Robert Williams III there. I would say that's a pretty solid, starting lineup there, a starting lineup that could potentially contend in the next future with, their pieces around them. And of course, just trying to avoid, that whole, apron and tax, thing that's going on and that really hurt the team the first time around. And, making, some moves here and there during the trade deadline. I would hope to, see at least one of those guys back, preferably Robert Williams, because we really need a center. And even though, the trade for Nikola Vucevic that sent Simons to Chicago in the first place didn't work out, I would still make that trade just because of that desperation that we needed. We had plenty of guards, but at the same time, having a traditional guard would help us out in the long run. And you can develop Simons even more, as he was already, good in his role, mainly in the defensive side, not necessarily to make him the next Derek White, but he was coming along there. And again, the offense really helped on his side. So I would love to see the Celtics maybe making, those moves, but preferably bringing back Robert Williams because we, again, are in dire need of a center.
Sorry, guys. This is my thing. I'm gonna say this, and this is probably gonna be a hot take. I'm not huge on bringing Robert Williams back. And the injuries just scare me a lot with him. That's just the big scary side of it. I saw a post the other day, and I kind of am following this trend. I really think this year, and this is a hot take, but I really think you develop Amari Williams this year. Like, throw him into the fire. What happened with Baylor Shireman this year? You threw him into the fire, and then he became the player he is. If you throw Amari Williams into the fire, you could get a big three. And this is the thing. This was the first year the Celtics tried out a core with Nemias Queta. This was Queta's first ever playoff run. First ever. You know, I don't think, like, obviously, and you looked at it, the Celtics were winning the rebound battle every night pretty much. So I think there's a lot of upside to it. Do I think we're probably going to get a big? Yeah. Yes, I do. Could it mean bringing in Porzingis on a cheap deal? Maybe. But I don't think you do that because I think you go over Robert Williams over him before that. My biggest thing is I think keep the same. But I was talking to, again, PJ. Go check out our podcast we did after a while. But he threw in a deal, and if the Cavs get swept tonight, they might deal out Jared Allen. So that could be a name that you see. Who knows? But he could be a name that Celtics could potentially go after. But this is my whole spiel on the guard situation. I would love to bring Anthony Simons back, and I think I've been specifying that constantly. But the thing is, you would have to get him on a pay cut because he was making what, like $27 million last year. And if you want that him to even come back, he's taking a pay cut. You have to. And I feel like if he stayed around the team and built, chemistry with the team, 100% he's taking that pay cut. But now I don't think he will because, they traded him. There's that. If we can somehow, shape, or form bring it back Anthony Simons, though, I'm all for it, and I would love that. My second option, though, is Ayo DeSumo. If we could somehow tug him away from Minnesota, I would love that, but I don't think we're doing that. I think Minnesota and him have a great relationship now. I think he's going to stay with Minnesota, so I don't see any way that will happen. So that's kind of where I fall. I look for those two guys. I look maybe slight eyebrow to Jared Allen. I think that could be a good one. But other than that, what do you guys think? Any other moves that you guys have in mind or any thoughts?
One that was floated around by Dan Greenberg from Barstool was Zion Williamson.
What the hell?
So there's no legs to that rumor, but I think Zion, he played the most games ever this year, and Brad did say we need more dunks.
Who do you trade for Zion? Who are you trading?
I would trade Derek White for Zion. I don't know if I might be exposing myself as a casual here, so I don't know if the Pelicans are in need of a guard, but I also need to see what Zion's contract is quickly, just so we can make the financials work. But
while you're saying that, though, I think you have to give up Pritchard for him. Like
exactly.
I'm not pulling the trigger on that.
No.
He's making $40 million a year, so we could trade Derek White and Hauser and take back Williamson, and it would just be a wash salary wise.
I'm not. No.
I would do that. I'm sorry. I would do that.
That's a hot take right there. Zion to Boston.
We need to mix things up. We need someone who can be a bit of a bruiser down low, get some more dunks. I mean, starting
injuries. A couple years ago, I'm pulling the trigger on that trade 100%. A couple years ago.
This is what everyone said about the Porzingis situation as well. It's a gamble you got to take. We knew what we were getting. This is like the same timeline as Porzingis. Like we got Porzingis right after he played the most games of his career with the Wizards that year. It was literally like 67 games.
David might be onto something. Watch Celtic. If I see on my phone Celtics get Zion Williams, I'm taking a vacation. I'm taking a vacation, and David, you're hosting that week's podcast. All right.
I'm gonna be playing.
He played the second most games of his career this season. He played 62 games. I could honestly see this happening. I'm not going to lie to you. And I would trade White and Hauser.
We're 4 hot takes on this one. We're 4 hot takes. What do you guys think?
You have a starting lineup of Pritchard, Brown, Tatum, Zion, and Kada. And then you just got to figure it out on the bench. You got Ugo, Garza. You just need a Ron Harper. Ron Harper can come off the bench and lead and take the Pritchard role. I would fully explore that. I know I'm already getting some raised eyebrows here, but that is something I would consider because it's just fitting the timeline where, with Porzingis, it was a huge gamble. And yeah, I mean, KP's tenure ended the way we all thought it would, with just riddled with injuries. But Brad seems to want to mix things up. Him and Joe are not in alignment on this 3-point aggressive strategy in the playoffs. And you got a guy like Zion who could stretch the floor for you if you need it, but he's more known for his bruising down low. I would roll the dice. You're trading a 32-year-old and a 30-year-old for like a mid-20-year-old, and you're trading a 32-year-old point guard coming off a bad offensive season. Hauser, you have to give something to get something. You're giving up one of the best shooters in the NBA, but you're filling a position of need. Yeah, it's not a center. I would prefer Zion to be able to play the 5, but you get a dunker and a versatile 4 in your starting lineup.
I don't think the Pelicans are making that move, though. I think maybe if you throw in a few first-round picks, maybe. But I don't know.
I don't know if they'll make it either. I don't know if they need those players, but it's just I would explore trading for Zion.
Yeah. What's up, Carl?
Yeah, they probably won't because they've been invested in him all these years, despite the fact that he has gone through injuries, constantly. So, yeah, giving up, those picks definitely would help more. I actually watched a video on this about how they did their rebuild, and they picked up all of these picks from, trading the likes of the Drew Holidays to the Bucks or Anthony Davis to the Lakers, and, of course, it not panning out. So they're just picking up these picks after pick after pick after pick. They're definitely not going to – yeah, them doing that would be insane, to do it again, to get rid of what was supposed to be like your main star, and technically your main star. Yeah, exactly. But he hasn't panned out in the way that you would expect. Also, I feel like that's too many guards for that team because that's DeJounte Murray now. That's Jordan Poole, who hasn't really played well. So, wait, are you saying we get Jordan Poole?
No, I want to trade for DeJounte Murray.
Oh, DeJounte Murray.
You named a guy that yes, 100%. 100%. I'm pulling the trigger. I'm trading. Yeah. I would do those 2 players for DeJounte Murray.
Oh.
Hot take.
Maybe hot to some, but I actually like it.
DeJounte Murray's coming off a ruptured Achilles.
So is Tatum.
They can be together. Look at that.
DeJounte Murray was playing well after coming off of that too.
But Griffin, this goes against your argument of the injury concerns with Zion.
But it's a kill. Yeah, it is. But this is my thing. All right, I will say, David, for your cause, I'm taking that Zion trade over Giannis for Brown. 100%. I'll take that over Giannis for Brown. But I don't know. Zion looks appealing. Like if you could somehow get those 2, you sold me. I will say, if you could somehow just do those 2 players for Zion, but that would never happen, I don't think. I would say yeah. Because it's like, all right, Zion. It's like, yeah, all right, you got me convinced. But those 2 players for DeJounte Murray,
we can find common ground. I appreciate Carl, you bringing that up, and Griffin for pushing that, because I'm all for DeJounte Murray coming here as well, like a guard that can run the offense and a younger version of Derek White. Sure, I'll take it.
I have 2 more players that I want to name for you guys too. CJ McCollum. See, I don't want to mess it up. I was about to say McCollum.
Say that again.
All right.
No. Heck no.
All right.
He's the reason we had to trade everyone. He's the reason for this
season. Oh yeah. No.
Stay out of Boston.
Every time I talk about his stats, I give him the finger. This is actually no.
All right. I have one last one. Ready? Michael Porter Jr.
The stats are there, but I just
defensive liability, and he doesn't assist like that.
I don't know. Did he
Depends
change?
what you're giving up for him, because now, like, I think that's the thing. I think Brooklyn wants so much for him now that the season he had with them. I think they look at him as an all-star now. When realistically, you look what he did with the Nuggets, he's not the same player that he was with the Nets because he was the main guy, and I think he likes being the main guy there. And I think they're going to ask for too much, so I'm saying no for that cause. But I do think Michael Porter Jr. does get dealt this offseason. Yeah, I'll take. Anyone else have anything though? Any other names? Can I say one thing that I don't think that wouldn't surprise me? It really wouldn't surprise me if Vooch comes back on the team. I'm saying it on a veteran minimum. I know it sounds crazy and how bad he was, but on a veteran minimum, like, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that because listen, you get a full season with him. He could help develop guys like Amari Williams, Luka Garza. You get him for that veteran piece. If you get him on a veteran minimum, that's low risk, high reward, right? Like, I don't know. Just a thought, you guys. Thought.
I put the percentage of him returning to the Celtics the same as his jersey number, 4%.
I agree. It's a low chance because I don't think he's happy with Celtics fans either. I don't think he would want to come back. I think we are a little brutal to him. I'm not gonna lie. Well, yes. So though, I guess. Like, I mean, he wasn't performing.
It sounded like Brad was kind of saying goodbye to him in his post-season press conference, where he said that he did good given the circumstances, but he didn't like outwardly say this is a guy we want to bring back. Not that he would say that about anyone, but I just got the vibe that both sides are going to go in opposite directions.
Yeah. Anyone else got any players though in mind? Or I always stand by the Nick Claxton. But I'm always there for that. Like, I will die by that. Like, I want to see Nick Claxton in a Celtics uniform at someday. Even if he's 40, I want to see him in a Celtics uniform at some point.
What about 41?
Yeah, 41. We'll take that.
I saw Isaiah Hartenstein, but I don't think that's realistic at all.
Yeah, I thought about that one too. I feel like that would only happen if OKC lost, and even then, that's like a lot of money too. So,
the one I can actually see the Celtics panning out for though is Day'Ron Sharp. That's one I could actually see the Celtics pulling the trigger on, or a Yves Missy, or however you say it. I think one of those two guys, they're like lower name bigs. I feel like one of those two guys is one where Brad would get one of them and feel satisfied. But other than that, I don't have anything else. Going to be a shocking offseason, but I think we gave you some good takes. Anything else, though?
What percentage chance do we all give that Giannis is a Celtic?
I'm praying, hoping that he's not. Oh, my gosh.
I think Kevin Durant has a bigger chance to be a Celtic than Giannis. And I can't stand the Kevin Durant rumors. You just hear the Kevin Durant rumors more than Giannis. But I'm going – I don't even know why I said that. Don't even get me started about Kevin Durant because I'm going to go on a tangent, and I don't want to go on a tangent.
Been a whole decade.
I'll go 3% chance. I don't think it happens. 3 out of 100. I have 100%. 3%. What do you guys got?
10%.
Yeah. Carl?
Yeah, I'll second Griffin 3. I don't think, knowing Brad Stevens, I don't think he would ever make a move like that unless he's actually looking to break up Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Because the only way you keep them together is if you give up like a big portion of the bench, and you're probably giving up like Peyton Pritchard along with that too.
Yeah,
that's the only trade. The only thing that's in the back of my head, I'm going to change my answer. I think there's a 6.7% chance that Giannis is a Celtic by October 2026. But the only thing that's in the back of my head is that if you really want to mix things up with this core and still add on with other options throughout the summer, it is doing financially, this is the move that makes the most sense because Giannis and Jalen's salaries are basically similar. So you're still left, even after making this trade, with like 12 or 13 million to play with before the first apron. So hypothetically, you could trade Giannis for Jalen and still sign like an Anthony Simons or a Robert Williams. So that changes it to getting a dunker on the team and getting some more rim protection or some more scoring. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but if we want to shake things up financially, that move gives us the flexibility.
I just you can't from the season that Jaylen Brown had, you just can't. That's like I feel like his value is a lot higher than Giannis right now. Like if I'm going down the list, like let's go down the list of I mean we have a little time. Let's go down the list really quick of all NBA players and like say you guys want to do this, we'll just straight up say yes or no. All right, you guys fine for that? Like no explanations, just yes or no. If I could find it, I'm just looking at Luke Cornett getting blessed by nuns right now. So all right, let's go through. All right, we'll go second team because Jaylen Brown is a second team all NBA player. All right, we'll go the order. Yes or no? Donovan Mitchell. No, I'm going no. Kawhi Leonard. No. Kevin Durant. Absolutely not.
No.
Jalen Brunson.
No.
That one raises an eyebrow, but no. All right, Cooper Flag.
Sorry, Griffin, no.
I'm going yes, but that's my bias. All right. Tyrese Maxey.
No.
He's improved a lot, but no.
Yeah, no. Jalen Johnson.
No.
No.
All respect to Jalen Johnson, but no.
Yeah, Jalen Duren. No. Chet Holmgren. No. I'll just throw in a couple more. Jaren Jackson Jr.
No.
Paulo Banchero.
No. Especially after this year.
All right, Cade Cunningham. It raises an eyebrow, but no. I'm still saying no. Luka
over Jalen.
Oh, if you could give it to Luka, then you give it to Cooper Flag. His upside, bringing the main boy back to New England.
I'm not talking about upside. I'm talking about current.
All right, whatever. I'm still saying yes to Cooper, but I'm going.
What do you want? Andre Iguodala shooting the game-winning 3-2. Max Cooper Flag.
All right, I'm going yes to Luka and Cooper. Yes to Luka and Cooper though. Those are my only two yeses though right now. Carl, yes or no, Luka?
No, and I'm biased. It's mainly because of 2024.
Yeah, you're right. I'll go no.
That's a good argument. He did lock him up.
But then you got Shea, Jokic, Wemby, and it's like, all right, it's like you have to do that. But
hold on, guys. Before we answer if Shea, he's got to shoot 2 free throws.
Yeah, we followed him by just mentioning him.
Shea is better.
But you name those guys. Obviously, those are no brainers. Best players in the NBA right now. But there's not a lot of guys you do it, and I don't think Giannis is a guy that you trade for. So I'm going no. But any other players circle your mind while we were talking about that, or are you guys all good? Good, perfect. All right, we're gonna head into our last segment. This will be a quick one, but IT back in Beantown. How are we feeling? And anyone want to say what he's doing in Beantown because he's hanging around for a while now. He's back in some way, shape, or form.
He has been hired as a scout for the Celtics, and very, very surprising to see him back affiliated with the Celtics organization. Kind of surprising, but at the same time, now that I'm talking out loud, not that surprising. he was always open to coming back during the late seasons of his career to the Celtics if the opportunity presented itself. It almost seemed like at times he was trying to will that into existence. And for the vibes, I absolutely would have welcomed back with open arms. It's great to see that there is no more hard feelings between him and the city after that brutal trade 9 summers ago. Can't believe it's almost been a decade since that trade happened. That was crazy to me. But very happy to see him back working for Brad Stevens, his old head coach. I mean, all feels right in the world. So just happy to see Isaiah Thomas contributing to the development of future Celtics for the next however many years to come.
Yeah, it's just very beautiful to see him playing, in a way, playing for this team. He's on the right team once again. Very beautiful to see him, part of this team. I remember the day of the championship parade, I was talking to my cousin, and he talked about how he really wanted Isaiah Thomas back on the roster. Definitely not in this way. We weren't anticipating this way, but we're still grateful and very happy to see him back and a part of this team. He clearly loves this city, and the city continues to show him that. Again, this is a guy who's quite literally the bridge between the big three Celtics and the Jays' Celtics. Essentially, at one point representing the present, as you had the past in the big three and the Jays in the future. I love seeing Isaiah Thomas back, with the Celtics in any type of capacity. And, definitely would have loved to see him, accomplishing even more with the Celtics as a player. But great to see that he's, again, back home. And I feel like, and hopefully in the near future, he can finally get his championship ring with us, celebrating along the Jays in the way that he was supposed to back when Jason Tatum was drafted back in 2017.
I'm just shocked he hung up the shoes. Like, I'm shocked that because he's been in the G League for a minute, man. I think great move for the Celtics though as a whole. I always see on his Instagram story him, like at the camps with AJ DeBanza and all of that. Like you always see him with young competition. So I think this is a big move for him, but it's great to have IT back, great time to be in Boston. And again, I agree, Carl. Hopefully he gets his championship ring with the Jays as he well deserves. But it's great to see him back. I wish he was on the team. I wouldn't mind. Not anymore. I think when we were talking about the championship year, all right, we could give him that last roster spot or something like that. But it's just great to see him back, and I'm excited for it. Anything else you guys have though? Well, that's going to do it, you guys. Again, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications to be notified every time we upload. Again, we're creeping up on episode 100, so make sure to stay tuned and come tune in for our fan series podcast. We'd love to have you guys aboard. We will see you guys with the next one. Peace, you guys.
See you
Later.